We're here in Blackcat Field. We got a bad snap back to Holum. Holum's just going to fall on it on the 23-yard line. So now it's going to be 14-0. Mejia Blackcats over the Teague Lions with 7 minutes and 51 seconds left to go in the first quarter.
I can hear it in here. Just in case. Start it just in case.
Well, we have the Teague Lions coming back on to receive the punt. We have Satterwhite dropping back with number 11, Namir Harad, and number 5, Bodine, are going to be receiving a Blackcat kickoff from Fuentes. Moving right to left here. Teague has got a good crowd over here.
Yeah, they travel well and they support their team. Looking across, like you said earlier, it's only 13 miles from here, so it was a quick trip for them.
And
got a nice deep kick from
going to Satterwhite. He's coming up the middle, and he's breaking out to the left side. And we got a flag. We got another flag. I
Looks
believe
like that second one's going to be a face mask against the Cats.
And that was a block in the back on the first one. But that was a nice break up the left sideline.
And so we'll get offsetting penalties, and we'll see if they re-kick this.
We got 2 flags. We got a block in the back on Teague and a personal foul penalty.
Asking on the Cats.
Looks like we're going to start back in Teague line territory. Are they going to re-kick this?
We're going to re-kick this. Had 2 offsetting penalties during the play, so they'll cancel each other out and we'll kick it all over again.
Hey, nothing better than getting wind sprints in during the middle of the game, huh,
right.
Wallace?
I'll say one thing, though, I have noticed on the kickoffs for the Cats, that middle seems to be open, and Teague's exposing it a little bit on the couple kickoff returns that they've had.
You're right, and we had that problem last week with Cameron. We gave up a couple of long kickoff returns to Cameron, and just luckily our defense would step up and they wouldn't move the ball much further.
That's one thing you get early in the season. You hate to say it, but special teams are usually one of the last few things that you work on, trying to jump into the season.
Yes.
So as these kids get used to running these plays, these special team plays more and more, that'll sure itself up.
Another deep kick to the left.
And that's a much better cover.
Yes. Number 11.
Jalen Busby again.
Was the first one down there to hit the running back, number 11, for Teague Lions.
And Teague will take
Mr.
over.
Harad.
Take over on the 29-yard line.
Well, Teague has been 3 and out on their first 2 series. Mejia's defense has been really stiff here. Let's see if we're not going to stay in line here with another 3 and out. As Teague comes out, their starting line is number 77. Bayless, 71 Carter, 74 Lee. Snap back to Bodine, and he's going to try to
keeps it up the middle. And he takes a big hit.
Yes. That was one of them as a runner you hope never happened.
Right. And as a defender, you pray to get.
Yes. And that was Jacob Allen on that hit. And as we come back to the line, looks like we're going to have trips to the left.
Ball placed on about the 32.5-yard line.
They're moving around. They're going to have split backs in the back, two wide receivers to the top and one down here to the bottom. And it's going to be 2nd and 7 as Teague comes to line. Snap back to Bodine.
hands it to number 6 or 5.
And here's that defense swarming. And it looks like they're going to have about a 6-yard loss on that, Wallace.
Yeah, and one thing is with the speed that's out there on the Cats defense tonight, Teague's not going to be able to run side to side too much.
No, that was it looks like Terrell Kennedy.
Yeah, and then it was cleaned up by Jalen Busby over.
Yes, running left to right against the Cats is not going to work it. You're going to have to go north and south on them. Straight up the field. So we have a 3rd and 13 here as Teague comes back with 2 wide receivers to the top and 2 to the bottom with Bodine and Green in the backfield. Snap back, and it's a delayed handoff.
Oh, and the Cats are there to cover it.
Yes. They get a gain of about 7, but not near enough for the first down.
Yeah.
So looks
up about 4th and 7.
So once again, the Cats come up big on defense and force a 3 and out to the Teague lines, and that's going to put Holdman back to return this. Let's see if he can't get elusive here and break a long one here.
Man in motion.
Ball's going to be snapped back to Satterwhite.
He steps back.
He's going to run and kick to the right, and he's going
he held on to it a little bit longer that time.
And Holdman has a fair catch. No problem with that. Once again, that's going to give Mejia good field position on their own 32-yard line to start out this next drive. That is one thing Mejia has done very well through 2 games is their starting field position has been very good for them.
And you can contribute that to your defense. Defense is holding the other opposing team's offense pretty much in check right now, and it's causing them to have to punt the ball from down deep into their territory, which gives Mejia a pretty good starting position on each of his drives so far tonight. And looking at it, we have Proctor and Wiley in the backfield.
We got 2 wide receivers to the bottom and 1 to the top with a little H-back action as he moves in motion across to the right. And the ball's handed off to Wiley,
and he's off
and
the right
he's around
tackle.
to the right again.
And he's picked up about another 11 yards on that run.
He is just lightning. If he gets any space, he's going to get you 10 yards of carry.
Yeah, and you could almost expect for him to be ready this season after having to miss the majority of last season with an injury.
Well, as Mejia comes to the line, we got 2 down here to the left, and we have 1 to the right, wide receiver-wise, with Wiley in the backfield with Proctor. Snap back to Proctor, and
Proctor's
he looks across the middle, and he's running out to the right.
And he'll just step out of bounds.
Looks like we might lose about 3 on that.
Yeah. That's one as he matures, he'll learn to just throw that away and not take that loss of yardage.
Yes. He's so quick. He thinks he can break it to the touchdown every play. And
when you're a playmaker, you don't ever give up on those plays because at any time you can make that.
So we have happen. 2 to the left on wide receivers, 1 to the top, and he's dropping back, and it's going to be a throw to Holdman across the middle.
And it's caught. They drive him back, but it's a gain of about 5 yards on that play.
It's going to bring up 3rd down and 8 on the Blackcat 46-yard line. You know, Wallace, the Blackcats' offensive line is pretty good size this year.
Yeah.
Starting left tackle Brandon Goose is a big old boy out there to corner that outside. Proctor's dropping back, and he avoids the sack, and he's out in open field.
There's nobody. Oh, he decides to throw it. Oh, and he overthrows his receiver.
He had open field for 20 to 30 yards right there.
If he keeps that one and just runs, he runs for a big gain. It may not have been the touchdown, but he would have gotten the first down and much more.
That's the first key hold for the Teague line defense tonight as Mejia trots on their punt unit, and Teague brings Satterwhite to the back to return the punt. They actually have 2 returners. Number 6 for the Teague lines, Juan Bernal, is going to be a second returner for the Lions. And we got the kick here, but we got a flag on the field. And they down it on around the 31-yard line of Teague, but we got a yellow flag on the ground.
We'll wait to see what what the call is.
That really can't be nothing but a legal procedure or an offsides.
Yeah.
Legal procedure on Mejia. See what Teague elects to do here. It's declined by the Teague Lions, and they're going to take over possession on their own 31-yard line. Teague is yet to move the ball tonight. Let's see if they can't get something going here after getting their first stop of the night.
Right, and that may have been just a little bit of confidence builder and momentum changer they needed to maybe see if they can get up and down the field on the Cats. Both teams are taking the field now. Looks like we'll have Bodine in the backfield along with Green. We have two receivers down at the bottom of the field, one receiver at the top, and an H-back set over the right tackle. Snaps back, hand off to Green up the middle.
That's his best run of the night, a pickup of about 6 yards. Nothing fancy there, just running the ball straight up the middle on the Cats.
You know, and maybe they realize that they're not going to be able to go outside and around the Cats, so they're going to have to try to go at them. But we've seen the Black Cat defensive front stand up time after time, and we'll see whose willpower is going to be the strongest, either that front for Teague or the front for Mejia.
We have a score of 14-0 with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first quarter with Teague with the ball. There's a penalty.
That looks like it'll be a false start on the Lions.
It looked like the snap went back, but it never made it back to the quarterback. Nobody knew the play was going to start but the center on that play.
Right. Well, you know, being one of those big guys, you're down in that stance for a while, and your head's telling you it's time to come up. And the other guys may not be ready to go, but there's only so much time that you can leave that weight on those fingers.
That's what hurts Teague, though, is they finally got a good run, and the next play you have a 5-yard penalty to bring it back. We got trips to the right and one to the top. Snap. Oh, we're going to have another illegal procedure on Teague.
False start on the right tackle.
That's what happens to these teams early in the year, Wallace, is they're not in great shape yet.
Right.
And start getting a little tired from going up and down the field, and you start having mental mistakes.
Yeah, and you especially see it on these smaller school teams where kids are playing.
Now they called this on Mejia a delay of game.
All I can think of with that call is maybe they're saying that Mejia's mimicking the snap count.
Yes, somebody hollered hike or snap or something. So now we're back to where the first run got them to. A 2nd down and 4 to go for Teague. Snap back to Bodine.
Hand off to Green around the right end.
And once again, there's a whole host of he lost that ball. Did Mejia come up with it?
No, it looks like he kept it. He rolled over a couple people enough to pick up a first down this time.
Teague picked up their initial first down of the game right there. With 3 minutes left in the first quarter, they finally got 10 yards in their first series in their series to get back to first down and 10 at the Black Cat 44. No, that'll
be the Teague 44.
Teague, yes.
Yeah. And Teague.
They're starting to run slower and slower offense.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
They're checking with the coach. They're trying to slow it down. They maybe feel that the Mejia offense is moving a little too fast for them, and they can't keep up the pace with them.
And there's another whole host of Black Cats bringing Green down.
Great play by Tyrell Kennedy, number 2 for the Cats. He got to Green before he could get started good and held him up until his teammates could come and finish him off.
Well, now it's going to be 2nd and 12 for the Teague Lions on their own 42-yard line.
I'll say Green's a pretty stout-built young man back there in the backfield.
He sure don't mind throwing his weight around. No. We got 2 wide receivers to the top and 2 to the bottom. Snap back to Bodine, drop back, and they're going to try
for a screen.
He's intercepted.
Cooper
intercepted this, and he's got one man to beat.
And he is going all the way to the end zone.
We have an interception return for the Black Cats. It's going to make it 20-0. pinned in the extra point with 2 minutes and 6 seconds left in the first quarter. That was just a phenomenal play. They read that from the very beginning.
Yeah, I don't think it fooled too many people in that defensive front for the Blackcats. You know, Cooper's the one that came up with the interception, but when you looked around, there was about 3 or 4 other guys standing right around him and running with him down the field.
Yes, once that running back slipped right there in the open hole right there, he slipped.
Yeah, and Cooper just undercut him and took the ball out of the air and never stopped running.
There was only one man for him to beat, and that was the quarterback, and there's not going to be too many quarterbacks going to take down Cooper.
No.
We got the snap back to Fuentes. Kicks up,
and it's good.
We have a good one, and now we have 21-0 with 2 minutes and 6 seconds left in the first quarter. Your Blackcats are on top. Well, this first quarter, Mejia's had all the momentum, Wallace.
Yeah. Teague really hasn't been able to get anything started on offense. They've had a run here or there that looks like it could be promising, and then the next play, it seems like the Blackcat defense just kind of bows their necks, and they make a big play to either move them back, or in that case, they got the turnover. And, you know, the defense was like they didn't want to have to wait on the offense to put any points on the board. They were going to do it themselves this time.
Well, Teague will take the field to return the punt. Once again, Satterwhite's back deep with Bodine and number 11, Harrod, to return it for Teague. And Fuentes is lining up to kick it off for Mejia. Right to left.
Cat spread out. Waiting for the kick.
Fuentes boots it to the right once again. Receiving it about the 15 is Harrod. And he's up the middle.
Oh, he got
that was a nice
big collision.
hit. Yes.
You know, he picked up some key blocks on it. I do see a flag, though.
That flags are starting to really hurt Teague.
Yeah.
That was
at the point of contact. There was a big collision out there, and Harrod kept his feet churning and fell forward for about 2 or 3 more yards.
We got a block in the back on the Teague lines. That'll move them back 10 more yards, and they'll be starting on their own 15.
So instead of starting at about the 30, they'll be on their 15-yard line.
That's the worst thing that could have happened to Teague. They're just having a tough time getting anything going, and now starting deep in their own territory is the last thing Teague needed. See if that Blackcat defense doesn't come up big one more time. It looks like we're going to have a different quarterback. We're going to have Satterwhite in as the quarterback.
Green flank to his right. I'm not sure who it is to his left.
It's going to be a handoff to number. No, it's a fake.
Satterwhite kept it up the middle, and he is breaking
gone.
loose.
He's
at the 50, 40, 30, 20, and he's tripped up. It's a great hustle by Jaleel Wright to trip Satterwhite up at the 2-yard line.
So that's a big play that Teague needed to get a little momentum back going their way. And they put Satterwhite in, which I believe is a senior this year.
Yeah, and he's probably one of their most dynamic players.
They've thrown the ball to him, they've run him with the ball, and now they put him in at quarterback, and he did just a fake handoff and goes up the middle and runs down to the Mejia 2-yard line.
Right, it was a great sell on that handoff, as it fooled just about everybody on the field and up in the stands.
See if Teague's able to punch this in.
And
did we have timeout?
We have a timeout, Mejia.
That run was about an 83-yard run for Satterwhite, and it didn't look like anybody was going to catch him, and Jaleel come out of nowhere.
Yeah, he turned on the jets, and he ran him down, but that's great effort by him, not giving up on the play with the man out in front of him. And he was able to dive out and just grab enough of that shoe to pull Satterwhite down before he could get across the end line. And we'll have 1st and goal from the 2-yard line after we come out of this timeout.
Well, we're back to play. We got the Blackcat defense out on the field, and Teague's coming out, and they're going to be in a bunch formation. And I don't know if this is a really smart play, the way Mejia's played it up the middle, but Teague seems to think they're going to be able to run it right over the top of Mejia. Let's see what they're able to do here. We got Bodine back in the...
And he pitches it off to the left tackle, and Green takes it into the end zone.
That is a play Teague needed. They needed that.
Yeah, they did. You know, it didn't seem like they were being able to do too much on offense there for a while, and then that one play was able to turn it for them.
And that's the one thing that's hurt the Blackcat defense this year is big plays.
Yeah. Like we talked about earlier, you know, that middle seems to open up for the Cats, and they're so fast in pursuing the ball that sometimes they overplay it on a fake or on a play action, and it kind of puts them in bad position. That kicks up and good.
I don't know how that ball got past those two Blackcats, but it was good. Now it's 21-7 with 1:40 left in the first quarter. At Blackcat Field, you got Mejia on top. Once again, it's pretty much a Mejia-dominated first quarter as last week. Just big plays on both sides of the balls.
You know, and we knew it would be a good game between the two, and we felt like the Cats would be able to put up points, and you look up and there's been 28 points put on the board, and the first quarter still has 1:40 left in it.
And the Blackcats are coming onto the field and returning the kicks for the Blackcats will be Trey Holman and Lamarian Miller. Last week, Lamarian was just 2 or 3 arm tackles away from taking long touchdown kickoff returns in for the Blackcats.
Teague looked like they're positioning it over here on the right hash. I'd say the Cats should be prepared for maybe an attempted onside kick with the way that they're setting up, or maybe just a pooch kick over.
Regarion Hicks looks like the one that they're really trying to kick it to, the way they're lined up with the football. And he's got speed just like the rest of the Cats.
Right, with the explosiveness of Miller, and
they just let the kick go out of bounds.
Wisely, he lets it go out.
So that will give the Blackcats good operating field position to start this drive in their own territory.
You know, we've seen the big play ability of several of the Cats so far already this game, and just knowing that Holman and Miller have that same type of ability, looks like Teague's probably going to choose to kick away from those two when they're set back deep to return kicks.
You know, I've watched a lot of football, and sometimes, to me, kicking it out of bounds is a lot smarter than kicking to some of these fast guys that they have in the back of a kickoff return, because at least you know you don't have to worry about them taking it to the end zone.
Right, and it's set at the 30-yard line where it probably would have had a good chance of being further up than that. And a handoff to Wiley.
And he breaks
off right tackle, and he's brought down a gain of about 5 on that play.
It's so exciting to watch him because it looks like on any handoff he's able to go the distance.
And what's so good to see from a guy, especially that young, he's only a junior, is the patience he has in the hole. He waits and lets the play unfold before he hits it.
Snap back to Proctor, and as they hand off to Wiley once again, banging off here to the left, and he's just churning his legs.
He just put his head down there and ran through about 3 lines defenders.
He got that first down all on his own. Yes. That was just determination. Nobody was going to bring him down. As we have a substitution here in the Blackcat backfield.
Looks like we have
Trey Jones is coming in for the first time tonight.
Number 15, Prince Banks, down here to the bottom with Holman inside of him.
Clark's up to the top. There's going to be a handoff to
Jones. And he hurdles a defender and gets a gain of about 6 or 7 yards.
He had one run last week that kind of mimicked that run right there, Wallace, but he picked up about 12 yards on it, and it was just beautiful to watch him just bounce back and forth in the hole. As his blockers set up a block, he was bouncing opposite them. It was just a pretty run by Jones.
And being able to watch them, it seems as the snap goes back, handoff to Wiley. Oh, he snowed under that time.
Maybe a loss of a yard on that one. Right there on that big red M. That's so pretty. I remember back when we played, we got that put on during homecoming.
It was pretty before the game started, and about halftime it turned brown and had a bunch of chunks missing out of it.
All right, that'll be the end of the first quarter with the lead to the Blackcats 21-7 at the end of the first quarter. We're going to go to commercial break here, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Black Cat Football and Greer Time Media. Let's take it to the booth with your host, Freddie Greer Sr.
And we're back at Black Cat Field with the Teague Lions and the Mejia Blackcats. At the beginning of the second quarter, it is 21-7, Mejia on top. And the Cats will start the quarter from their 46-yard line. A handoff to Wiley up the middle. Looks like a short gain of about 1 yard.
Let's see if this isn't two-down territory for the Blackcats. We have a 4th and 3 here. And it looks like they're going to bring the punt team on, Wallace.
Yeah.
I guess the way the defense is playing, he's wanting to pin them deep and make them earn their yards.
You know, that so far we've seen that Teague hasn't been able to do much outside of that one explosive play from Satterwhite. So I believe maybe the Cats are thinking that they can keep that up and let the defense hold them, and they'll get the ball back here. And Prince Banks gets a good punt down the field.
As it's going to
looks like it's going to die down inside the 10-yard line.
Well, looks like the Teague Lions will be starting on their own 9-yard line on this possession. We'll see who Teague brings in as a quarterback, as they had Satterwhite on their last possession break the long 83-yard run. See if they're going to go back to Bodine now, or if they'll stay with something that they found as a positive.
Well, looks like Green's going to come out and get him a break for a quick minute, and we'll see who they put in to spell him. So going out onto the field, looks like they'll have Bodine in the backfield with Satterwhite back at quarterback.
Well, if it worked once, you might as well try it again.
And they hand it off this time off the right tackle, and the Blackcats stack it up.
That's the Blackcat defense we've seen the first 3 series of the night.
And that edge held that time, and they were able to hold it in, and looks like a gain of maybe about half a yard.
On our next time out, we'll bring y'all some scores from local events, local schools around here. Mejia's leading this one 21-7 with just under 11 minutes to go in the second quarter. Satterwhite still in at quarterback with Green in the backfield with him. Snap back to Satterwhite.
He keeps it with the lead blocker.
But he's not going to run. No. He's not going to run around the ends.
The Cats are too fast. And that was a good job by Jacob Allen of spilling that lead blocker, and then the rest of the Cats just filled in.
Satterwhite's down on the field. He took a big hit there.
Yeah, he did. You know, and that was
as they tend to Satterwhite. Both teams are going to take a knee.
That was both of the Blackcat safeties coming up after that lead blocker was taken out, and they kind of converged on him, and we're going to just pray that this young man is okay and that he doesn't have anything seriously wrong with him.
Well, you know, last week we were in the same position in Cameron, and we had a Blackcat down, J.R. Deichler, Looks like what ended up being was more precautionary. He had a concussion, but he was able to go home that night, and he didn't get to practice this week, and he had suffered some headaches, but I think toward the end of the week he was doing a lot better.
And with the assistance of the trainer, Satterwhite's being helped off the field, he is up on his own feet and walking off under his own power, so that's a great thing to see.
As I'm sure Bodine will be back in the backfield now for the Teague Lions. No, yeah, Bodine will be back with Green in the backfield with him. They got two split to the right and two split to the left for the Teague Lions, with one in the backfield with Bodine.
It looks like we're going to have a false start on the Lions.
Looks like the tackles had a different snap count once again than the rest of the team.
You know, and looking down on the field and seeing number 1 for the Lions come over to the sideline, it looks like he's not walking very upright. Looks like he's staggering a little, so that's going to be a big loss for the Lions, as he's one of the key cogs on their team.
Teague comes back to the line with 2 wide receivers to the right and 2 to the left. Snap back to Bodine, a handoff to Green up the middle. And the Blackcats defense just swarming once again, Wallace.
And again, you know, that's a...
We're going to have 4th down.
4th down and about 7. You know, that's a good run by Green up the middle, and he's throwing his weight around and really putting his head down and churning, but Teague continues to get themselves behind the chains with all the flags and penalties that they're getting.
Well, I wonder who's going to do the punting here for Teague with
Satterwhite. With Satterwhite's on the side. You know, he's kind of their do-it-all utility player. He punts, plays quarterback, plays receiver, runs the ball. He plays on defense, and now he's not available. So I think Teague's going to take a second. They've called a timeout. They're going to try to discuss it and see what the plan's going to be going forth right now.
That will be their 3rd and final timeout of the first half. But I guess down here in this end of the field, you sure don't want to make a mistake and get a blocked punt.
Right. You know, the Cats have put up points on the board pretty quick when they've had the ball so far this game. You don't want to make it short and easy for them.
Go ahead.
We're going to go to commercial break while we're in this timeout.
As we come back out here to Blackcat Field with the Cats leading 21-7, Teague getting ready to punt on 4th down at their own 12-yard line. We do have a new punter in the game, but Holdman's dropping back. Roberto Escobedo is punting for Teague now. Snaps back.
Gets the punt away, and it's
Holdman right there all by himself with nobody
Holdman's
around
got
him.
it with a chance to
see
return
if he can't
it.
break this down the left sideline.
He returns it to about the 20-yard line.
Mejia will have great starting field possession for this drive.
It's about a 24-yard return for Holman on that punt.
That's what he looked like last week against Cameron.
Yeah.
He was always by himself and nothing but 15, 20 yards and green grass in front of him.
You know, and he's dangerous, and if he can get a ball where he's moving forward and there's nobody within 10 yards of him, and he's moving around, it's going to be hard for the defenders to change their course of direction and try to get to him. And he showed that on that play.
Well, the Cats come out with a tight end, and they have 1 wide receiver to the right, 1 to the left, and 2 running backs in the backfield. They're going to motion Holman out with a pass out to him to the flat, and he's going to gain about 5 yards on a little bubble route out to the right.
That's that little RPO, that run pass option that you get where the quarterback decides if they're going to give it to the running back on the read, pull it and run the option themselves, or they pass it out to the flats to a receiver, and it worked for a gain of 5 that time.
Well, we're back with a tight end to the left this time, one wide receiver to the right, left with 2 running backs in the backfield, Holman and Wiley with Proctor. This is going to be a handoff to Wiley.
And he's up the middle, puts his head down, and he's down to about the 6-yard line.
They're going to be a 1st and goal on the 7-yard line for the Blackcats. And this game's starting to get carried away real quick.
Yeah. I'll say the front line for the Cats are doing a really good job right now of just kind of controlling things and opening up gaps for their runners.
So we have a gain of about 4, maybe 5 for the Blackcats for Wiley.
Looks like he's down to about the 3-yard line.
It's going to bring up a 2nd and goal.
The Cats check the sideline to get the play. Break the huddle. As they come out, you got a receiver up to the top, a receiver down at the bottom, and 2 backs flanking Proctor. And he hands it off to Wiley again. He comes around the right edge, and he's drugged down by a couple lines. You know, that looked real close to being that horse collar tackle.
Yes.
But no flag came out, so as we say, you just play on.
So we're going to have a 3rd and goal from the 5 for the Blackcats. We got Prince Banks to the top, Hullum down here to the bottom with 2 running backs with Proctor in the backfield. Proctor's going to fake it out to the left.
And he throws across his body, and it's caught by Prince Banks.
Touchdown, Blackcats. That will make it 27-7, pending the extra point. Looked like Proctor was just going to take that in on his own, and he pulled up and hit Banks right between the numbers.
You know, that's a great play. He rolled out, like you say, and you have to respect his feet so well that the defenders started to bite up on it, and as soon as they left the receiver, he just dumped it off to Banks. Looks like we're going to have a different field goal kicker in this time. It's number 42. Snaps back,
Gustavo
ball's down,
Martinez.
And the kick is up and good.
Well, that will bring our score here at Blackcat Field 28-7. Blackcats with 6 minutes and 47 seconds left in the 2nd quarter. We're going to take a timeout here as they get ready to kick off, and Wallace High and Jeremy Sunday will be back with game action. As we're back at Blackcat Field, it's Wallace High and Jeremy Sunday bringing you the game from Greer Media Time. Mejia has scored 1 more touchdown, so that now brings it to 28-7 Blackcats. Wallace, Mejia is just dominating this game so far.
Yeah, you know, I don't think there's any part of this game that Mejia isn't dominating, whether it be special teams, offense, defense, in the trenches. With our athletes, Mejia just looks like the better team tonight. We got a different kicker set to kick it up. Is again number 42 as he boots it deep.
That'd be Martinez.
The ball's caught about the 11-yard line.
Is that by Green? No, that's Herod.
That's Hurd. And he squeezed through and broke a couple tackles. He was able to get through, and then number 17 for the Cats was able to get his arms around him and pull him down to save what could have possibly been a return for a touchdown.
We got some scores in the local area here I'm going to bring you while we got a break. Wortham is down 36-32 in the second quarter to a non-UIL opponent is what it says. Hubbard's leading 14-0 in the second quarter. Holland and Martyr are playing to a 0-0 game with 5 minutes left in the second quarter. Conley's leading 21-3 over Glenrose. As we come back to play, the Teague Lions will have the ball at the 40-yard line.
And we have a flag thrown by the back judge.
Did we have a delay of game right off?
It looks like that's what we had. And we'll march back 5 yards for the Lions, and they'll start off this possession with a 1st and 15.
With Bodine in the backfield with Green.
Cats make a late substitution, but they get off the field.
Snap back to Bodine, and he hands
hands
the
it
ball.
to Green up the middle, and Green spins and rumbles off a couple of defenders. And
pickup of about 8. That was a tough run by Green.
Yeah, it was. Like you say, he's a well put together young man, and he's one of those running backs that it seems that he'll keep running and picking up steam as the game goes along. And if you don't put your head on it, he'll wear you down.
He don't mind contact.
No.
As we come back to the line, we have Teague with 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left with an H-back, and Green in the backfield with Bodine. Got a snap back to Bodine, and he's going to hand it off to Green up the middle. And the ball's up in the air.
Oh, and Green pulls it back down.
How he kept that ball.
I don't know. It looked like
amazing.
35, who I'm not sure who. We'll go to our roster and see who 35 is. We don't have a 35 on the roster, but it looked like 35 was going to rip that ball away and go the other way, and somehow that ball kept bobbling and juggling, and Green was able to recapture it, and he spun himself down back to about the line of scrimmage.
Well, Green comes out for this play.
We'll have Hurd and Bodine in the backfield. We got trips up top and a single receiver down at the bottom. And it's a handoff, and it's sniffed out immediately by number 2, Tyrell Kennedy.
Back to some scores while we get ready for the punt. Eastland's leading West 35-0. Athens leading Rusk 14-8. Robinson's beating Gatesville 35-3. Brownsboro leads Fairfield 7-0. Madisonville leads Woodville 14-0. Grandview leads Hillsboro 7-3. And McGregor leads Bosqueville 22-7. Lorena's up on Franklin 21-7. As we have the punt here, snap back to the punter.
Snap back, and it's on the ground.
And he's just going to be tackled in the backfield
by number 9, Lamarian Miller. The punter didn't have a chance to get that ball off.
That was just a bad snap from the beginning. And you got to understand, these boys out here sweating like they are, their palms are sweaty, and
right.
It looked like the ball just slipped off his hands as he was snapping it to the punter.
And Cats will take over on the Teague 33. And we have Cats taking over with the handoff to Wiley. He's off the right side, and he's stacked up and thrown down for. Looks like he's back to the line of scrimmage. And while we're at it up front for the Cats, we have big number 79, Jacob Kyle. Oh,
he just covers your whole offensive
line. Yeah, he does.
You can't see the rest
56, Brandon Goose.
We have 77.
Who's Matthew Hudson.
At the center position.
58, who's Brian Luna.
And that's something. Mejia has a big offensive line.
A quick pass out to Holman out into the flats, and he picks up about 5 or 6 yards on that play.
That's just a quick pitch out to the left. That's something that these spread offenses are running nonstop these days.
Right. And also number 78, Jonathan Hernandez, up front for the Cats tonight. And they're doing a really good job tonight, Jeremy, of holding the line, giving the quarterback some time to find receivers and opening holes for those runners to get through.
Yes, they have really kept the backfield clean tonight. There's a handoff to Wiley
up the middle, and he's still churning.
Looks like he's going to be about a yard short, and it's going to be 4th and 1. Surely Mejia will go for it on this play.
I mean, they're at the 25-yard line. I don't know if our kicker is his leg is strong enough to hit it here, because from here you're looking at probably about a 42-yard field goal. So, with it being less than 2 yards at the 25, I don't see a reason why the Cats shouldn't go for this. Not with the way they've been controlling the line and moving the ball.
They're going to keep the offense on the field as we were talking, and they're going to go for it on 4th down with 2 minutes and 25 seconds left in the second quarter. Looks like they're trying to draw them off sides, and
we
then
got a false start on the Cats.
We're going to have a legal procedure on our wide receiver out here to the right. So now that's going to bring up a 4th and 6. But I really don't see any reason punting here.
I don't either. I mean, you're not going to gain much in field position here from the 30-yard line if the ball goes in the end zone.
And the way your defense is played tonight, there's no sense in pinning them down inside the 10-yard line.
I think you take your chance of getting this first down or more on this, and if you don't get it, you run your defense back out here and tell them to bow up and hold the Teague offense from being able to get anything.
See what the Blackcats looks like. They're going to take a timeout maybe. And that is timeout Mejia Blackcats.
And as they take a timeout, we're going to take a timeout along with them. Again, the score for the game right now is the Mejia Blackcats 28, Teague line 7, 1:51 left to go in the half.
You're listening to Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer & Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
You're listening to Black Cat Football and Greer Time Media. Let's take it to the booth with your host, Freddie Greer Sr.
As we come back to Black Cat Field, Mejia is going to keep their offense on the field, Wallace.
Yeah, and right now you got Proctor along with Wiley in the backfield. You got stacked receivers down at the bottom and one receiver at the top, and Proctor's going to go deep.
And it's going to be a touchdown, Black Cats.
By Lamarian Miller.
That's just a pretty throw and catch by Proctor and Miller.
Miller ran right by the defensive back that time, and Proctor laid that ball out there perfect for him. He just ran right into the ball, and it fell in his breadbasket.
It's so odd to see teams on 4th down go for the home run, but that's exactly what the Blackcats just did. That's going to be a 30-yard touchdown pass from Proctor to Miller.
Cats move into traditional field goal position, and we have number 42 lined up to kick it. Ball's down, kicks up, and good.
So with 1 minute and 44 seconds left in the first half, Mejia now has a 35-7 lead. The Blackcats have looked just absolutely awesome tonight in the opening game of their season at home.
Yeah, they have. And the stands, there's quite a crowd crept on in as the first half got going, and they're getting to see a show tonight.
They're feeling the power from that big red M on the middle of the field, Wallace.
Right. When you have as many explosive athletes as the Cats do, and you can get them out in space and allow them to get out there and run, then they're making it look easy against a team in Teague that's traditionally a good team. But right now it just looks like the Cats have too much for them.
Last year I did a fundraiser for Woodman Life, and I had went and sit with the head coach of Teague, and me and him talked for about 30 minutes just talking football because, I just love sports, and I can sit and talk sports all day. and he was telling me that this year was going to be more of a rebuilding year for Teague, but they had some athletes that could really change the difference for them this year if the light come on for them.
Right. You know, and I'm looking down there and just looking at their roster, they are pretty young, but, you know, they have good size, they have some speed out there, and they have some real game-changing players.
Well, their starting quarterback, Bodine, is a sophomore, so you know you're going to have some pains when you got young guys. And we got to break. A nice hit there, but he's still running around to the right.
And then he's finally brought down around the 24-yard line.
He run about 50 yards for a 20-yard gain right there.
And that was number 11, Hurt, and he and number 17 had a huge collision.
Well, now Teague will have the ball again on their own 24-yard line with 1:35 left. Mejia has one timeout left here to use in the first half if they want to. But I would think Mejia would be happy with what they have right now.
Right. And, you know, just looking at we were talking about Teague, and one of their keys is going to is for them to be able to stay healthy.
And Teague looks like they're just going to kneel this ball in.
They're going to line up in power and hand it up the middle. Looks like Green with a pickup of about 5.
Green has been a bright spot for the Teague Lions tonight. He is one heck of a running back.
You know, looking at their sidelines, it looks like Teague's only got about 20 kids suited out tonight, and I see probably 7 or 8 kids that are not in pads but just their jerseys. And we saw Satterwhite go down earlier in this game, so you just hope that they can get healthy and keep their numbers up and keep their kids on the field, because, like you say, when they're rebuilding, the best thing you can get is experience for those youngsters.
Looks like Teague's going to pick up a first down on this second down with 52 seconds left in the first half.
And that was Green off around the left end that time, and he nice little pickup. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line.
They're starting the clock up here, and it looks like Teague is just trying to run the clock out here.
It doesn't look like they're trying to do too much right now.
In between plays in the first quarter, we couldn't even call out linemen, and now we're just sitting here waiting for them to hike it.
This will probably be the last play of the half. They hand off to Green again, and the Cats stack him up.
Well,
looks about all 11 Cats are in on that play.
The one thing we do know for Teague is we know who their workhorse is.
Right.
They come out in the first quarter and threw a couple of passes unsuccessful, and that Blackcat defense has just swarmed the ball the whole first half.
And it looks like Teague's just going to let the clock run out and take it into the locker room at halftime.
Well, from Blackcat Field, Wallace High and Jeremy Sunday brought you the first half with Mejia winning 35-7. We're going to have our halftime festivities, and we'll be back to bring you the second half from Blackcat Field.
To Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is. You're listening to Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays. Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
You're listening to Black Cat Football and Greer Time Media. Let's take it to the booth with your host, Freddie Greer Sr.
Yes, this is Jeremy Sunday and Freddie Greer back with you. And we're going to do some halftime stats here. Rushing for the Cats, we have Wiley 8 for 43, Proctor 2 for 42, and Jones 1 for 7. Receiving, we have Wiley 1 for 71, Clark 1 for 11, Holdman 3 for 15, Banks 1 for 5, and Miller 1 for 30 with a touchdown. And let me go back to Wiley. His one catch was a long 71-yard touchdown as well. Mejia's had 2 penalties for 10 yards and 2 punts for 67. Our pass attempts are 7 for 9 for 132 yards and 1 TD by Proctor. We had 8 first downs in the first half. And now to Teague. Teague Green rushed the ball 16 times for 50 yards. Bernal had 1 for -7. Satterwhite had 3 for 87 before he went out with his injury. Escobedo 1 for -9. They had a total of 22 rush for 121 yards. And they did have a couple of passing attempts, but they were incomplete passes. They had 4 first downs in the first half. Mejia has completely dominated this first half on yards and first downs. And they're leading in the scoreboard 35-7. But I was looking here too. We got some more local scores from around the area. Mart and Holland are 0-0 at halftime. We have Dawson up 34-0 on Bartlett. Milford is leading 54-0 over Abbott in the second quarter. Avalon's leading Iredale 24-12 in the first quarter. Conley's still up 21-3 in the second quarter. Eastland is 35-0 on West at halftime. Robinson, we have a 35-3 lead over Gatesville at halftime. Let's see here. Hubbard is 14-0 at halftime. Caldwell is down 16-7 to Rockdale at halftime. Madisonville is leading Woodville 21-0 in the second quarter. Grandview's leading Hillsboro 10-3. Maypearl is over Gateway Charter Gators 28-6 at halftime. Garrison is leading Crockett 20-14 at halftime. Lorena's leading Franklin at halftime 21-7. Hearn is over Grosback 19-0 at halftime.
I saw that.
Whitney is over Marlin 20-0. Of course, the Mejia scores 35-7. Salato's leading Academy Bumblebees 28-7. And Refugio is beating Goliad 14-0 at halftime. Those are some local scores here. We have some high-scoring games here in the second week.
Yes, we do.
We have the Mejia Blackcat band out on the field right now, and they have some new uniforms, and they look really sharp out there, Freddie.
Look nice, real nice.
Well, this game tonight has been what you, as a Blackcat fan, wanted. We are injury-free so far, and we have looked really good going up and down the field.
You know, Jeremy, even though I'm from Grosback, I never thought I'd be up here broadcasting a Blackcat game.
Well, Freddie, there's a river that's between us, and you have a choice. Do you want to stay south or do you want to go north? And for you, going north was better because it brought you up here with a bunch of winners.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Your son and my son played last night in Teague, and they won 20-6. And I know you got a call this morning as I did, and they moved our sons up on the varsity tonight.
Varsity, yes, it did.
Andrew's playing quarterback and safety for the JV in his first year here in Mejia as a junior, and Little Freddie's playing running back and cornerback, and Little Freddie's had a 3 or 4 good long runs so far this year.
Had good 2 nice runs. Yesterday they got called back.
Well, you expect that in JV ball because that is that's your sophomores and some of your juniors that have moved in, kind of like Andrew moved in, and Freddie being a little guy like you, but he's got a big heart, and he has brought the wood this year when he's hitting on defense.
Oh, yes, he has.
I tell you, Freddie, I have watched sports my whole life, and I've enjoyed watching basketball. We're going to call Blackcat games this year in basketball, if y'all don't know that, and we'll be calling baseball. But broadcasting was something I always wanted to do, and when I moved back this year and you hit me up to do this, it was just like a dream come true that I finally get to put this headset on and call a ball game after listening to all the games I've listened to my whole life.
It was a much needed. We needed it.
Well, I remember growing up, we had KYCX, and hopefully later in the year as games get more serious, we'll be able to interview some of the guys on Saturday mornings after the game and be able to play their interview at halftime of what happened on the previous game, and maybe get some coaches shows going. As just starting up here, learning our equipment, it's been kind of rocky, but it's been enjoyable being on the road with you, and now we're at home.
Yeah, we're at home.
And I know, you being a GOAT, I hate to bring this up, I couldn't tell you what it feels like to be on this field and having a winning score, because you never got that as a high school player.
Never got that. What did y'all beat us? What it was about 3?
We beat y'all by 1 point, and y'all had a kicker that was an exchange student.
Yeah, he had y'all very nervous.
Oh, we was very nervous. You're right. In fact, it was like a 53-yard field goal, and he hit the bottom of the goal post where the A is, and we all thought when he kicked it, it was going to go through because he was dead center.
In my eyes, it went through.
Well, I'm just glad they didn't count on the scoreboard. That year, Grosbeck actually got to go to the playoffs with us. I remember going and watching y'all play Robinson in the first round.
Yep.
Y'all had a really good squad that year.
Yeah, that was a real good squad.
At one time that year in our district, we had 3 teams ranked in the top 10. Crockett was ranked in the top 10 with Grosbeck and Mejia ranked in the top 10. That was a really strong year for us that year. And now look at us, 22 years later, we're up here calling our kids' games.
Calling our kids' games. Man.
As the Mejia Blackcat band just exited the field, they're starting to air up the run-throughs for the Blackcats. And Freddie, with 35-7, if we get 2 or 3 more touchdowns, we're liable to see some of the youngsters get to play tonight.
That's a good idea.
And, of course, Mejia's gone to turf, and Grosbeck's had turf for a long time.
Oh, yeah, for a long time.
But I remember playing on Grosbeck's turf, and it was like playing on concrete.
Man,
you get tackled, and you got hit harder by the turf than you did the guy tackling you.
you know, it felt good playing with the G in the middle of the field. You do know what the G stand for, don't you?
I know it's probably going to be something crazy.
It's something crazy.
It's south of the river.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all that's down there, right?
That's all that's down there.
I have a lot of friends down there. They're probably going to be mad at me after saying that, but hey.
But, you know, the G stand for grills back.
Oh! Yeah. Well, that explains a lot right there.
Yeah, it does.
And you know the worst part? It's not just you moved to Mejia. Your little brother Rod moved to Mejia too.
Yeah.
You know?
I never thought I'd be up here.
You can bring y'all to Blackcat land, but won't never take the goat out of your heart, though, will it?
But this is where I met my wife.
Well,
here in Mejia.
We got good women in Mejia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it has been really entertaining. I've enjoyed it. Thank you for asking me.
Oh, no problem.
And we can't do nothing but get better as we go.
Oh, we also got one of our new members here is Wallace High. I'm going to pass the mic over to him and let him talk.
Wallace, I'm glad you joined me this week because now I feel like I have a partner commentating with me instead of a Greer yippers or yes, sir. But let me explain something about Freddie. Freddie's running the camera, and he takes us to timeout. So he's doing more than just what I'm doing other than watching the game and calling how it's being played out.
Yeah, he's a man of few words, but he's got a lot of action going on behind the scenes that people aren't able to see. I told him I was supposed to be with you all on last week. He had asked me to come and help out, but my wife became ill, so you know how that goes when the missus is down and she needs somebody there to take care of her. You better stay there and do it.
Oh, you got to.
But I'm glad to be able to get out here today.
It's just enjoyable to sit here and watch football, watch these kids that you've been a big prominent person in the community, coaching, helping with all our youth sports, and to watch the kids that we've coached and the kids that we've brought up out here playing and excelling the way they have it just brings chills to my skin when I see Lamar and Miller break down the left side to catch a touchdown. I mean, we've been coaching them since they were 7 years old.
Right. These are some of the first kids that I was able to coach whenever I came back after I finished college. And, you know, I look out here and I told somebody earlier today, I said it makes me feel kind of dated, you know, to see some of these kids. You know, I had them when they were 7, 8 years old, and now they're at 17, 18, about to graduate from high school and playing football in their senior year. And it's crazy to see, but it excites me. You know, just like you know, I'm a former Blackcat. I got out here in this field several years ago, you know, for many nights and played many games out here, and it's something you don't forget. There's things that you don't forget, and Blackcat football is one of them. I tell people all the time, one of the things that always stands out when I think about you is I remember the one play back when you were playing, and it was a pass to you, and it was a throw. I believe Justin Reed threw it, and you ran down the field and you laid out and you caught that ball with one hand going down to the ground. And I said, anytime I hear Jeremy Sunday, that play is what pops up to my mind. And I had to only have been maybe about 10 or 11 back then, and I still remember it to this day.
It was so funny. Coach Watson was our coach at that time, and he would tell everybody, Jeremy can't outrun anybody, but there's no one that can outrun Jeremy, because we had to play. We were playing Westwood that year, and one of our guys had messed up, and I ran on the field and was on kickoff, and that guy broke down the left side, and I was on the right side, and I run him down about the 15-yard line to keep him from scoring, and that gave us a shutout for the season. And we were watching film the next morning, and Coach Watson looked at me and said, "Why can't you use that on offense?" And he just started laughing. What was funny is when we would run our 40s, I would run with the wide receivers and Dale Lowry and the tight ends, and I'd run 4.6, 4.7. Well, the coach get mad at me, and he put me with Shannon Wright, and I'd run a 4.46 or run a 4.45 because I'm just competitive. I wasn't going to let the guy beside me outdo me. But then you put me out there on my own, and I wasn't going to outrun anybody.
Yeah, you know, so some of us have that built in where we're going to compete no matter what, and that's a Black Hat thing. You don't back down from anybody.
No, and you know, I have a son that's a junior, and I moved him back here this year just for the simple reason I wanted to see some confidence instilled in him. And 2 weeks into football, I'm telling you, my 16-year-old comes home every day grinning. He's a quarterback. And he comes home grinning every day and wanting to talk football, and that's the best feeling in the world as a dad that loves sports, is your son to want to come sit down beside you while you're watching the Packers in Green Bay, and all he wants to talk about is the game he had that night. And to see the enthusiasm in his face and the excitement of how he's telling me about it is just it's unbelievable. He in his 4 months in this program, from starting out, working out this summer, the coaches have been really good to him. And you can see, with us knowing all these guys that growing up and coaching them, how much they've matured in the last 2 to 3 years as young men.
Yeah, man. It was probably better talking to your son about his game last night than the Bears and Packers game. So, you know.
That's exactly why we need to get rid of preseason last night.
And so one thing, you know, I have an 8th grader, and their season hasn't quite started, but they get rolling next week, and I'm excited to see them as well. And I'm just like you. I love when he comes home and he wants to talk to me about what he was able to do that day at practice and what all he's expecting to do in the games coming up. So, you know.
Yes, I got an 8th grade nephew, and I think he's y'all's quarterback.
Uh-huh.
And I was hoping Andrew was going to be on varsity. That way I could go watch his games. But now with Andrew being the starting quarterback for the JV, they're opposite. So I had a work situation last night with my company, and I had to miss Andrew's first football game ever, and it killed me. But when he come home and sit down beside me and was so excited telling me about it, and of course I had 3 or 4 people call me, it just broke my heart more. But that smile on his face just fixed it real quick.
Oh, yeah. You know, and it's something you'll never forget. It's something that these kids that are out here won't forget. You know, they'll be just like us. In 15, 20 years, they'll be sitting there and they'll be talking about what they did out here on Black Hat Field. You know, I'm pretty sure if you go sit over in those stands over there, there's a gang of guys who are talking about what they did when they were out here on Black Hat Field.
I know there is. I know Randy Craig's around here talking about his sports life back in the day. But, you know, I tell you what's funny is me and Andrew – we're talking last week, and here about 10 years ago, we had an alumni football game against Grosback, and he said that was probably one of his most memorable moments is getting to see his daddy play football. Well, I have a 6-year-old that on Sunday called me and told me, "Daddy, you're the coolest daddy ever. You're on YouTube." And I just started laughing. My 6-year-old now, he's listening right now. I just got a message from him, said, "Daddy, you sound so cool on YouTube."
Yeah, this is pretty good, and we want to thank Mejia Sports Network and Greer Time Media for all that they've done. You know, like you said, I grew up back when we had KYCX that would broadcast the games and send things out, and for years we hadn't had any type of media going out from the game. So it's great to be able to have this going on where people can get online and listen. Even when we're out of town, they can hear the Cats And right now we're watching the Blackcats come back through the tunnel and enter back on the field for the second half. We still have about 3 minutes and 50 seconds to go.
I'm going to bring some more sponsors to the forefront. We have Mookie's Barbecue. Thank you, sir. We have Joe Fridays. We have Greer Car Wash. And, of course, Woodman Life, my company, is sponsoring this. And we're always looking for more sponsors. And when you become a sponsor with us, you get to get called out for basketball games and baseball games. Wallace, are you going to be with us during basketball season as well?
I plan to be as much as I possibly can.
You got a new one at the house, don't you?
Yeah, I have a little 1-year-old, and she keeps us going. But the one thing she loves coming to the game, she loves anytime we're moving, she's ready to go too.
Well, knowing you as well as I do, and you knowing me as well as you do, our kids are going to have nothing but to do with sports. I mean, they don't have an option in our lives. They're going to have to either love sports or they're going to hate them. I mean, that's just the way it goes.
So yeah, so I plan to be with you all as much as possible. Freddie's already talked with me about trying to, stay latched on with you and be here to help out as much as I can, which I plan to do. And as the season goes on, as the year goes on, and like you said earlier, we get all of our technical things worked out and set up, and we have the video feeds coming in and streaming through for everybody. Those sponsors, if you want a good way to get your business out there, your company, churches, your group, organization, sponsorship through this is really well. You'll get that airtime on the website and on the YouTube channel when it's streaming and broadcasting out. You'll get your name called out by us when we're out here broadcasting, and just giving you that support for you supporting us and sponsoring us throughout the year.
Yes, and our sponsorship's is for our first year. We're doing $150. And that covers football, basketball, and baseball. So it's a whole year's worth, and you're going to get your name called out 10, 12 times in one night for $150 for a whole year. So
you'll have your logo or your
as we get back to the game here, Mejia's going to receive the opening kickoff, and Miller and Holman are back as Teague's prepared to kick it from right to left. As we start the third quarter with Mejia up 35-7.
And it's a little pooch kick to about the 23-yard line.
Let's see if Miller can break
takes
one.
it.
And he's on the loose. He's out to the left.
He makes a move.
And we got a yellow flag down.
He takes it across midfield, but we do have a flag, and we'll wait to see what.
Looks like that one's going to come back because I seen a Teague line flying from behind right there. That line grew wings and took off.
Usually when you see a guy running the ball like that and then a flag comes in from the back, it's going to be against their return team.
Well, as we said earlier, Mejia had an awesome first half on offense with Proctor leading away with 42 yards and a touchdown, and then he had 132 yards in passing. That's pretty good for a first half for a quarterback.
Yeah, it is. I think it's been shown a lot of progress throughout this game with our air attack, our air protection, and so we hope that keeps it up in the second half.
We're going to start out with twins to the right and twins to the left with Wiley and Proctor in the backfield. It's hike back to Proctor, and he pulls it out from Wiley and runs that RPO, and it's Holman down the left sideline once again for a pickup of about 7 yards.
It'll be second and about 3 at the Blackcat 32-yard line.
As Mejia goes into a hurry-up offense here. I guess they want to score 100 tonight.
And Proctor rolls out, and there's not many defenders in front of him. And he steps out of bounds at about the 40-yard line.
That's a pickup of about 8 for a first down to the Blackcat 38-yard line.
The Cats look like they're in their up-tempo offense. They're hustling back to the line, and they're getting set. You got Proctor with Wiley to his left. Snaps back. The ball's given to Wiley. Oh, and he's chopped down.
That was a good hit by number 42 for the Teague Lions.
And that's Reese Young.
There's not going to be too many open field tackles on our backfield, and that was one good tackle by him.
I'll say you got to get them before they get started, and he was able to do that time.
They had Proctor in the backfield.
He gets away.
And he's broken away to Holman downfield, wide open, running down the left sideline.
And he
is –
oh, he gets pushed, but he stays.
Tightrope the left side.
Oh, he stepped out of bounds around the 9-yard line.
As an ex-wide receiver, I get excited to see the wide receivers open downfield like that.
That was a great job by Proctor. You know, he got pressure immediately on the snap, and he was able to pull away from the defender and roll out to his left. And Trey Holman just stayed alive and drifted down, and Proctor found him.
Touchdown. Oh, he dropped the ball in the end zone.
That was intended to Christian Clark across the middle on a quick slant route, but he wasn't able to hang on to it.
Christian's another one of those kids I coached growing up, and he was a heck of an athlete when he was younger.
Oh, he's still a great athlete. He has some speed on him. I think when he
snap back to Proctor and hand off to Wiley. And Wiley's finding the yards inside a little tougher in this last quarter and a half.
The Teague defense is really kind of buckled down on the interior, and they're not allowing as much through the middle as they were in the beginning of that first half.
So we have Proctor in the backfield with Wiley. We got twins to the right and twins to the left. Proctor's moving Wiley where he wants to put him, and he's snapping back.
He drops back. He's looking for a receiver.
And he's going to find wide open Evan Harrison for the touchdown. That was just a little quick slant inside by our tight end, and we had great protection for Proctor. He had all day to find a wide receiver out there.
It didn't seem like he was hurrying. He read his progressions. He scanned left to right, and then Harrison popped wide open in the middle of the end zone.
So on these extra points, you think the coach is just making them run extra sprints during the game to do this?
Yeah. I'll say one thing. We ran the swinging gate formation a little bit back when we played, not every extra point like they do now. And, you know, it gets you a little excited because you always hope that the defense didn't line up right so you could have some big play and go ahead and get 2 points. But, you know, when you run it every time, I can see the guys kind of getting complacent and just kind of feeling tired.
It actually worked the first touchdown because they were expecting them to switch, and Proctor took the snap and went around the right side and got 2 points.
Yeah, and that's the reason you do it. A lot of teams don't scheme for it so much, so if you take that chance and you're able to get it once a game, then it's pretty much worth it because you figure if they line up right, you're just going to shift back into your regular field goal alignment and then kick it anyway. So,
well, back at Blackcat Field with 10 minutes and 12 seconds left, the Blackcats lead 42-7, and Martinez will be kicking off from left to right for the Blackcats. Looks like Harrod, Bodine, and Green are the deep men for the Lions. It's a high pooch kick to the 35-yard line.
Oh.
And he breaks loose and gains about 10 yards on that. I think they're going to start opening field possession on this drive is going to be at the 44 of the Lions.
Yeah, and that was a good bell ringer kick by the kicker, and it seems like a couple of our cover guys just overran the kick, and it opened up a lane for the returner to get about 12 yards on that return.
That's one of them. Man, I hope he don't kill me catches right there, because he was a sitting duck. I mean, and we just missed. 2 of them missed on each side. The Blackcats come back to the line of scrimmage as Teague gets ready to start a new series. 1st and 10 on their 44. Now Teague comes up in a bunch. Wishbone coming back out there, Wallace.
Oh. And there's about 3 cats get on the green.
That's Dawson Scott leading the way, number 44.
44, 35, and looks like Jalen Busby, number 11, were all in on that tackle. You know, we talked about that spread offense. You know, is it's a little funny to see him jump back into the wishbone. You don't see it all too much, nowadays.
That's just how versatile Teague is.
Yeah.
They can run any offense they want to. But I believe injuries is a lot of the problem Teague's had tonight.
Yeah. When you lose key
now
guys.
We're in the wing tee. And we're going to have a pitch out to the right, and they're trying to string this out. And he cuts it back up the middle, and it's a big run by Green.
Yeah, and
he had a good 5-yard run. He run about 20 yards for that 5 yards.
He had to search and get to it. Even with the different formations they're throwing at the Cats just look so fast that even when they're not lined up properly, they're flying to the ball, and it's creating havoc for the Teague offense.
Green, he is one tough cat to bring down.
Yeah, he is. And he looks like he hasn't slowed down a bit since the beginning of the game.
Well, he sure has carried the ball. We got a
the
fumble
ball's
on the
loose.
field,
The
and it
ball's
looks
loose
like
on
the
the-
Black Cats are going to come up with the turnover. No.
Oh, the Lions, number 55 for the Lions, came up off the ground with the ball.
Scott was on the bottom of the pile, but 55 come out with it.
And again, it just seems like little miscues hurt Teague throughout the night. It doesn't allow him to really get any momentum, doesn't allow him to sustain any drives. And the Cats' defense is a big part of the reason for that, as they've really stood up to the test of
they got the punter a lot closer to the snapper now. See if we can't get in there and get a block. And it's kick back to Holdman. He's going to be returning. He's
gonna
all
have
by
plenty
himself.
of room. Oh,
that
big
was
block.
a heck of a block by Lamarian Miller in front of Trey Holdman. He's still going, and he's going to be tackled about the 31-yard line of the Black Cats, as the Black Cats will be going back on offense. With 7 minutes and 15 seconds left at Black Cat Field, the Black Cats are leading 42-7. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back from Black Cat Field.
You're listening to Black Cat Football and Greer Time Media. Let's take it to the booth with your host, Freddie Greer Sr.
As we come back to Black Cat Field, the Black Cats are now on offense, Wallace. 1st and 10 from their own 31.
And Proctor throws the ball. Prince Banks catches it on a little tunnel screen, and he gains about 10. Well, they're going to mark him down at about 8 yards.
And you saw some explosion there from
Yeah.
Prince, too, and that's good with him coming back from that injury.
Yes.
And we got a timeout by Teague on the field. They were fisting to get caught with too many people on the field.
And speaking of the injury to Prince Banks, last year several guys from Mejia sustained injuries, and we're seeing some of them coming back off of those injuries, and you can tell that they really worked and trained hard to get back. Wiley was one that missed a good portion in most of the year with an injury. Prince Banks missed last season with an injury, and they're out, and they're key contributors for the Cats, and it's good to see that.
Yes, as we're here at timeout, Teague took a timeout. They had too many people on the field. Mejia's trotting their offense back out. It's real interesting to see Mejia go high tempo here with such the lead that they have. But I guess this time of the year you weren't trying to work on a lot of different things. We got Evan Harrison in motion, a snap back, handoff to 22 for the Black Cats, and he's right up the middle.
Oh, and he makes a cut,
and he's out to the left.
And he's running. Oh, he's drugged down from the back by
that Trey Jones.
Yes, it is, I believe.
Trey Jones with the long Black Cat run of about 50 yards.
And we didn't get to talk about it much at the beginning of the game, but Wiley and Jones seem like a very good complement to each other when they're in that backfield. They run a lot alike. Jones is a little more upright runner, but they both have good vision in the hole. They're patient, and once they hit the hole, they explode through there.
Yes, and that's really key for us, because when you take your first string running back out and you don't have any fall off, that's really big. As we have Prince out here to the right, we have Holdman in the slot.
Up top, that looks like number 10, Jordan Hullum up top, out wide.
We got Evan Harrison just caught that touchdown as a tight end, and we got Proctor and Trey Jones in the backfield. Snap back, handoff to Jones up the middle again. Another tough run for about 5 yards for Jones. He's like, man, give me the ball.
Right.
I've watched y'all run all night long. Let me have some.
And looking over there, there's probably about 5 or 6 of those guys that we saw through the preseason, through those scrimmages, that carried the ball well. And I can just believe they're probably over there chomping at the bits, waiting for their turn to get in and run it. And Jones is getting his turn right now, and he's making the most of it.
Now Mejia slowed it down on this possession. They're not near the hurry they were.
No, they're still in the little spread, but they're taking their time, working some clock. Going to let some of this clock run down before they snap the ball the next time.
Now we get ready for the snap. Proctor motions Holdman in. And the handoff to Jones up the middle. He's going to break it to the left. He's at the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, touchdown Jones. That is one heck of a run by Trey Jones right there, Wallace. Once again, Mejia's up 48-7 with the extra point pending. Well, no sprints on this extra point. We're just going to line up and kick it right between the uprights.
This is the time to let your kickers get some extra work that they don't get live game situation.
Snap back, kick up. Looks like he split the uprights again, so another good extra point by Martinez, and that brings the lead to 49-7. Blackcats at Blackcat Field with 4 minutes and 59 seconds left. Mejia's just doing what Mejia wants to now.
Yeah, they are. And while they switch the field and get ready to kick off, we're going to take a quick break.
You're listening to Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
Back to Blackcat Field, getting ready for the Blackcats to kick off. Game being brought to you by Wallace Hyde, Jeremy Sunday, and Greer Media Time with Freddie Greer.
You know, you said it before our break, Jeremy. It looks like the Cats are just doing what they want, and right now they look like they were ready coming into this game, and they're firing on all cylinders. The kick kicks up.
We have a high pooch kick at the 35. It's taken by number 6.
Oh,
and he breaks across, but he keeps going
running
right
sideways
to left, and
he's brought down. Looks like.
He caught that ball on the right side on the 35, run all the way across the field, and got up to, looks like, about the 42-yard line.
Looks like number 85, Ariel Pimienta, made that tackle over here on the Teague sideline.
Well, Teague will be starting field position this time at their own 42. We'll see what kind of offense they bring out this time.
Yeah, you know, I'm actually enjoying seeing the variations in the formations that they're throwing out here.
I didn't even know some of those playbooks were still around. Tecmo Bowl's come back.
Yeah, somebody went in a closet and blew some dust off.
We got trips to the left and handed it off to Hurd, and Hurd got a heck of a run right up the middle, about 15 yards.
He put his head and shoulder down and right into that safety. And he fell forward for about another 3 yards.
Green is a real hard runner, but something that Hurd brings is a little more quickness.
Yeah, he's real shifty. Green's a big back, and he's got good speed, and he's just going to power and run over you. You know, Hurd kind of sets you up and puts a little shake on it, and then he's able to still finish runs behind his pads as well.
We got trips to the right. They're going back to their regular offense here with Bodine and Hurd in the back. As I hand off to Hurd with a sprint around the right end. And it looks like he's done broke one for about 13 more yards.
And he pulls up. He's kind of limping running out of bounds over there.
Yeah, I'm looking down here on the field, and Green's limping back out onto the field too. You know, these first couple 2 or 3 games of the year, you have cramping problems.
Yeah. That looks like it might be what's getting both of those 2 young men right now. You know, just looking out on the field, it looks like the Cats have put in several of their their
They brought
second string and backup players on their defensive line, in the linebacker core, and at the safeties right now.
Snap back to Bodine, and it's going to be a quick
out.
pass out to the left.
And Jalen Buzzy sniffs that out and makes a great play.
That's one of them where your quarterback hangs you out to dry because that corner just leveled him.
Right.
And that was Busby on the hit again.
That's great recognition by J.B. Busby, as he didn't fall for the receiver outside running off, and he saw the quick pass, and he beelined right for that receiver and brought him down.
As Teague comes back to the line, they're going to have trips up top. They're going to have one single wide receiver down here to the bottom with Green and Bodine in the backfield. Snap back to Bodine, and it's just going to be a straight quarterback draw.
And the Cats
swarming
bring him down. It's going to bring up about 3rd and 8.
As we start running some of our backups onto the field.
You know, it's a great time with the lead that we have and time running down to get some of those young guys some experience and save some of your starters and key guys as the game wears down.
We have 2 minutes and 20 seconds left here in the third quarter with Mejia leading 49-7 at Blackcat Field.
Green limps off the field again.
Cramps are just getting them. I mean, snap back to Bodine. He hands off Hurd.
And
he breaks loose, and he's going to be taken down past the first down marker.
He's got enough yardage for a first down to the Black Cat 15.
They had him stopped with about a 3-yard gain, but just as pure strength, he breaks loose of about 3 Black Cats and rambles enough for a Teague line first down.
And then looks like we got a cat down right now. It looks like number 11, Jalen Busby.
He's cramping. As he limps off from cramps.
And the Cats are going to call a timeout.
Really right there with a player down, we should have had the officials call timeout.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to matter like that. That one timeout's not going to hurt Mejia, hopefully, with a 49-7 lead with 1:42 left in the third.
Right.
But this humidity and this heat we have is causing cramps.
You know, we're in Texas, and you expect it through those first 3 or 4 games of your season every year. You're going to catch the end of summer in Texas, and, you know, during the daytime with the sun out, it's about 100 degrees, and even at night once the sun's down, that temperature is staying up at about in the high 80s, you know, maybe even low 90s, and that humidity will get you.
You know, I hear a lot of people say, man, why don't them kids drink enough? Why don't they drink more water? Well, what they don't understand is you can go out and practice all day and drink all the water you want to, but when you get in this game, you have a different adrenaline running through you. And it's unless you've played it, you really don't understand it.
Right. You know, and a lot of times the kids are drinking water, but you have to understand they're out in the middle of the day in the 100 and some degree heat practicing, so the water they're drinking, they're pushing right out of their bodies. And then the next day they're coming out here again and getting right back out. And so by the end of that week, until their bodies get used to coming out here and playing on Friday nights and all of that, you know, you expect to have the cramps and stuff.
Well, we're back to the line. We got 2 wide receivers to the left and 2 to the right, and we're going to have an end-around sweep to the middle, to the inside wide receiver.
And that was great pursuit by number 35.
We were looking for his number earlier, and he's not on the sheet for us to acknowledge the awesome play, but he has made 3 or 4 great plays tonight. As Teague comes back to the line, we got 2 wide receivers to the right. We have an up back tight end. We got 1 down here to the left, and Harad's in the backfield with Bodine. Snap back to Bodine, and he's going to pull it from Harad, and he's going to throw out here to his up back, and he's going to go in. He's going to go in for a touchdown.
He goes in for a touchdown, and he runs straight over number 6, Jaleel Wright.
Well, that was a really good drive for Teague. Teague needed that drive.
They did.
Let's see who got that touchdown for Teague there.
I believe it was number 42.
No, number 4, Luke
No,
Stacks.
Oh, number 4. Okay.
And he just bulldozed one of the Blackcats at the goal line.
You know,
He lowered the shoulder, and he wasn't going to be kept out of that end zone on that play.
no, not on that one. And, you know, Teague's, they had their struggles tonight, so that was a big play for them and gave them a lot of energy on that play.
Let's see if we –
how
he missed that.
You know, we've seen our guys come off the edge about 3 times now. No, the 2 times they scored and kicked the extra point. We've seen our guys come off the edge, and seems like they're standing right in front of the kicker, but somehow he's getting that ball up over those goalposts.
While we get ready for the next kickoff from the Teague Lions, let's go over some scores. Wortham is tied 54-54 with a non-UL opponent tonight.
That's a shootout over there.
Yes, Hubbard is up 20-0. Mark is up 3-0 with 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Now that must be a defensive battle.
They have not played too many games, been 3-0. I've been watching them the last couple of years, and I've always kept up with Mark because they've always had a great team. But a 3-0 score is not something you see too many nights on a Mark score.
Oh, no. Not here in recent years.
Avalon is upsetting Iredell 51-20. Conley's up 35-3 on Glen Rose. Athens is up 31-6 on Rusk. Fairfield's up 14-6 on Brownsboro in the fourth quarter. Robinson's leading Gatesville 55-3. Madisonville's up 35-12 on Woodville. And Grandview's leading Hillsboro 17-10. As we come back to the field, the Teague Lions are getting ready to kick off and kicking deep. And they're just going to squib it back to Evan Harrison.
He downs it around the 33-yard line. You know, we were talking earlier about the hydration for the kids. And I've seen in some states, you know, through a certain date on the calendar, their sports leagues have mandatory stoppages in play for them to have water breaks, you know, during games. And, you know, mostly these states down in the South where it gets very humid and very hot, and you want to make sure that your student athletes are protected and they're as safe as can be. And, you know, that's one of the ways they've instilled in their game plays is to have actual factored in water breaks.
We got a new quarterback in the backfield, Prince Banks.
At quarterback.
He's going to hand off to Trey Jones as he finds a hole up the middle for a gain of about 5 yards.
Looks like we have a
That'll be
the last play of the third quarter as the Cats let the clock run down.
We have an update with the Mark score. It is now 7-3 Holland.
Oh.
In the fourth quarter. Here we have the Blackcats leading 49-14 at the end of the third quarter. Whitney's beating Marlin 34-0. Freddie, man, I'm sorry. Grosbeck's losing 25-0 tonight. Coach Bomar's back, and as he said earlier in the year that he was going to have to teach them guys how to win down there in Grosbeck. And I know I've coached against some of them kids. They got some talent down there.
Yeah.
It's just getting them all on the same page. Crockett's playing number 8 Garrison to a tough game tonight, 26-20 in the fourth quarter. So we have some decent teams in this area, and they've played some tough ball games so far this year. And I know La Vega was down 42-28 in the third quarter earlier.
You know, I bet that game there was going to be one of the highlights in the state tonight with La Vega playing Argyle.
Well, they played them last year just like this, and Argyle won the first game, and then La Vega won in
The Cats take the field, snap back to Banks, and he keeps it around left end, and he puts his shoulder into a couple defenders for a gain of about 2 or 3.
Mejia comes back to the huddle. They're taking their time now.
It's 3rd and about 5. And the Cats again, they're running the clock right now. You know, with the score and the time on the clock, I would be surprised to see the Cats snap the ball with more than 10 seconds on the play clock.
Well,
again for the
now
rest
you're
of the
getting
night.
down to the time you've got some backups in, and you just don't want to get nobody hurt.
Right. Banks takes the snap. He looks. He throws it downfield. And, ball's knocked out of the air by the defender as he left it a little bit short as he looks like he was targeting Christian Clark on that.
Yeah, that defender just rode his hip and turned around and knocked the ball down before Christian could get his hands on it. Argyle is up on La Vega now, 42-35 with 7 minutes left. That is a ball game, buddy.
La Vega's closing that gap, which is more than expected. You know, that team over there is not going to give up on anything or let a game go easy. I know not too long ago it was 42-21 over there. It looks like La Vega's been able to put 2 more scores on the board.
Well, early in the year like this, as football teams, you still don't know what you have.
No.
You're still learning your way on offense, defense, and special teams. We got a snap back to Prince Banks and a punt.
So a good punt over the
And we have 2 back. Oh, man, catch it. Number 6, and he's running across the middle. And he breaks it open, but that was a heck of a tackle by Jacob Allen.
Yeah. He looked like he had a crease for a second, and Jacob Allen just filled that hole and brought him down.
Well, we start the 4th quarter with a punt, and we got a 49-14 score with 10 minutes and 17 seconds left with the Black Cat defense coming back out on the field. I guess we'll see what offense we're going to see from the Teague Lions on this drive.
Well, they'll take over the ball at their own 38-yard line right now. You know, we've seen the wing tee. We've seen
Wishbone.
We've seen the spread. You know, we've seen them line up in a goal line formation in the middle of the field. So, you know, there's never any guessing of what
we
they're
had
going to throw
William Perry
out
in the
here.
backfield on the goal line. As Teague comes to the line, they're going to have twins to the right and twins to the left with Bodine in the backfield. And oh my gosh, they hit that running back right as he handed off to him. He never had a chance.
And that's a different running back than we've seen all night. That's number 2 for the Teague Lions, who is Orland Mejia.
And now he's being replaced by Harrod. As we're going to stay, looks like trips to the right and single up top with Harrod and Bodine in the backfield. It'll be 2nd down and 14.
Oh.
We have a flinch there.
Yeah, it didn't get called.
It's just the end of the game. They're just the referees are no different than us. They're wanting it over with as fast as the coaches do right now, because the coaches just don't want an injury this late in the game.
You got Hurd came out, ran the stretch play to the right, and was brought down by Drayvon Cooper.
Brings up another 3rd and long for
Hurd
Teague.
looks like he's still down, and he's cramping again. You know, in this heat and the game like this takes its toll on those kids that play hard both ways. And we're seeing that a lot from this Teague side.
As Teague comes to the line, they're going to have trips to the top, and they're going to have one wide receiver down here to the bottom with Bodine and Greens back in the backfield now. Snap back to Bodine, and he's rolling out to his right. That's just a straight quarterback run, and he's going to lose yards on that.
Yeah, he was run out of bounds by the Black Hat defense.
I mean, that going back to what we talked about earlier, Wallace, you're not going to run around the end on the Black Cat defense.
No. You know, and even with this being most of the Black Cat second team defense, you can still see the speed out on the field. They're gonna stretch you out, and they're gonna make you run to the boundaries, and if you can't cut it up anywhere, then you're just gonna run yourself for about 25 to 30 yards straight into the out-of-bounds territory.
Oh, for sure. As they line up, they've brought their punter up close again, and we have a different returner now.
Well, Mejia had 9 players on the field getting ready for that punt return.
That's what happens when we start playing backups.
When you're subbing in and out, you've been working these first couple weeks with certain kids in special team positions, and you're at the end of a game like this where you're trying to keep those kids on the sideline and get some other kids some game time. That happens. Someone comes off the field that's not used to being out there on a punt return, and they should have stayed out because they're in the game now. And as a coach, you nod your head at it and you fix it and correct it on the fly, and those things will kind of work themselves out as the year goes on.
Who's our new return man? Oh, that's going to be B.J. Sunday back taking the punt for Mejia. I really like these Mejia jerseys.
Yeah, the combination of the black on white looks real good out there on the field tonight.
We got to snap back to the punter. He's going to run. Oh!
And
they took the punter out, but I guess they're saying that part of that ball was tipped.
Yeah.
He tipped it. They're saying the ball was tipped, so there's not going to be any penalty for roughing the kicker. Mejia got really lucky on that.
Yeah, they did. Now, whoever that was, they shot off the line of scrimmage, and they were back there in the punter's face.
And I want to say there's a rule when them punters run out like that. Once they get so far
out,
once
they get outside of the tackle box, they're considered a runner.
Yeah.
And that's the risk you run when you have that soccer style or Australian rule punter. And they kind of loop out and run out around the edge and then try to kick it. And that could have been the case there where he got outside of that tackle, and at that point, if he gets
back
hit,
to Banks, and his handoff to Sunday as BJ's coming around the left end, and he's swarmed in the backfield by the Teague lines.
It's going to be a loss of about 5 yards.
We have 7 minutes left here in the fourth quarter from Blackcat Field as the Blackcats lead 49-14, and that was a rush around the end for BJ, a loss of about 6. As the Blackcats come back with a 2nd and 16 on their own 30-yard line.
We're seeing a host of new cats out on the field right now.
Looks like a lot of confusion out there right now. Now as they just running the clock down. Got about 4 seconds left on the play clock when they snap it. And Prince is going to run around the left end as a quarterback sneak.
And he cuts it up, and
he's going to pick up about 10 yards on that and bring up a 4th down and 5 for the Mejia Blackcats, as surely they're going to punt this ball.
Well, I think
it
there's
would be a
just
third.
down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I looked over and saw a third already, so I didn't realize they had flipped the yard marker already.
Cats are taking the signals from the coaching staff, and they break the huddle and come up to the line. We have Prince Banks still at quarterback, and looks like Trey Jones in the backfield.
Snap back to Banks. See, hands off to Trey,
and
he runs past a couple of defenders, and he's still on his feet. And he picks up about 12 yards down to the Lion 46-yard line, and that is going to be enough for a first down for Trey Jones and the Blackcats.
And looking at Trey Jones, he's a little bit taller than Wiley. He's a little more slender, but he runs behind his pads, and he runs with power, and those arm tackles don't seem to bring him down.
He reminds me of Doug Gentry running back in the day. Doug runs straight up real tall, and he was tall for a running back.
Right, and I'll say the good thing is that both of those young men are just juniors.
And Prince in at quarterback right now, he's a sophomore. Letting the clock run down to underneath 5 seconds, and the snap back, and he drops back. And Nobody's looking for a pass.
I don't know if the receivers and the quarterback were on different pages there, but the quarterback dropped back the throw, and all the receivers looked like they were blocking.
Yeah, nobody ever looked for that ball. And there was two Blackcats in the vicinity of where the ball was thrown, and neither one of them were looking back to catch a ball. As we wind down here, we got 4.5 minutes left in the game for the Mejia Blackcats and Teague Lions.
It'll be 2nd and 10. And the Cats are at the line, 46-yard line.
Blackcats come to the line. Of course, we're just going to let the play clock run down inside the 5. Snap back to Banks as we get underneath 5 and hand off to John. No, he pulls it. Good fake. And that's a good open field tackle of Banks on the 46-yard line of the Lions.
He picks up about half a yard, maybe that. It'll be 3rd and we'll call it 10 still. And we've slowed the game down considerably now. You know, we're not hustling up to the line and calling those plays in so rapid. The team's coming back, we're huddling up, the coaches are signaling in the play, then we're breaking the huddle, letting that clock run down and letting the clock on the scoreboard run down as well.
As we're going to break the line, we got trips down here to the left, and we got one wide receiver up to the right with Banks and Jones in the backfield. Snap back to Banks as he gets ready to throw, and he's getting hammered right there as we sack the ball, and the ball's still on the floor. Teague Lions come up with the recovery of the fumble as Banks is sacked in the backfield, in the Blackcat backfield, and lost the ball as Teague recovered it on their own 47.
The Teague defender came right off the offensive right edge.
Banks never
saw him, you know. And that's the thing when you have your second string in, and Banks hasn't played much at quarterback this season, and he's going to have to learn that, you know. That's the side that he's got to be able to pick up and account for on that play. He's either got to find that dump off to that running back that's running the bubble route or get it out quick because they just brought more people than the Cats could block that time.
As the defense comes back out, we got some confusion on the Blackcat defense. Teague's back in twins to the left and twins to the right with a new running back in the backfield. Hands off to number 4. Stacks is breaking up the left sideline, and I don't know if he's going to be caught, Wallace. He's going to go in for a Teague line touchdown, and that is Stacks.
Number 4 for the Lions. He just ran a nice little stretch off the left tackle, and
53 yards to pay dirt.
I don't think he was touched from the time he got through the first wave of defenders until he touched the end zone.
Well, now Stacks, he's caught a wide receiving touchdown, and now he's running one in on the ground.
Yeah.
That's a positive sign for the Teague Lions tonight that they can take from this.
Yeah, and at this stage in the game, the Teague Lions, they're looking to build momentum and get some things going for next week.
As everybody knows, next week Mejia will be back here playing Malakoff for their second home game of the year, and we will be broadcasting from the same place, same Blackcat time, starting at 7:30. Teague lines up to go for 2 here. We got a timeout on the field. Mejia took a timeout as Teague lined up to go for 2.
We're going
to take a short break here.
You're listening to Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays. You're listening to Mexia. You're listening to Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
As we're back live here at Blackcat Field, Wallace High, Jeremy Sunday, and Freddie Greer. Teague's coming out, going for 2 on their extra point. They got twins to the right, twins to the left, with Green and Bodine in the backfield. Snap back to Bodine. He's just rolling out to the right. Ball's popped up in the air.
And
interception.
By looks like Regarion.
Was that Regarion or Lamar and Miller?
It looks like number 8.
Oh, we got a flag on
We
the.
do have a flag. I'm not sure who that was that got their hand up and got the ball initially, but they were able to deflect it straight up in the air, and Hicks came across at the back of the end zone.
Looks like it's going to be against the Blackcats, and they'll just move the ball half the distance to the goal and replay the extra point.
Waiting for a signal on what the penalty was. Well, it looks like we're getting a chalk block call on the defense.
I'm really not understanding that call there, but
no, I'm not understanding where.
Well, either way, we're going to go back here and play this extra point one more time.
Yeah.
We got 2 minutes and 52 seconds left in the ball game with Mejia leading 49-20 at Blackcat Field. Teague's huddling up. That's something we have not seen very much tonight is a huddle. Teague breaks the huddle. We got twins to the left and twins to the right with Bodine and Green in the backfield. Snap back to Green, and he's handed off, and he's just going to bull his way into the end zone.
But we do have a flag over on the field.
Well, let's try this for a third time. What do you think, Wallace?
Oh, the call was against the Cats. It's declined by the Lions.
Must have been an offsides.
Probably so. The Lions take the 2-point conversion.
Now the Blackcats lead 49-22 at Blackcat Field with the 2 minutes and 52 seconds left, and Teague getting ready to kick off. You think we might see a onside kick here, Wallace?
I mean, at this point in the game, it doesn't hurt. It allows you to work on it even if you don't recover it. You know, it gives you a chance to practice it in case you need it somewhere down the line where your game's closer, and it'd be a much more meaningful attempt at the onside. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them pull it out at this time. You know, right now, Teague scored on 2 quick drives against the Cats right now, and they made the score seem a little closer. You know, in hindsight, when you're here and you're watching it, you understand that the game hasn't been nearly as close as the scoreboard indicates. But at this point, Teague's getting a chance to work on some things that they'll be able to use later on in their season, you know, from starting with next week. So with the alignment, it looks like we might get that onside kick, Jeremy.
Mejia's lined up in a ready for that onside kick, and they kick it deep.
Kicks it, and
it goes by Holdman, and he picks it up
and stays inbounds. And
Holdman breaks it down the right sideline, up the middle.
He's cuts
to the left side.
Oh, and he's brought down.
We got another flag.
We got flags.
I'm telling you, Holdman and Miller are going to break a couple of those this year. They just one tackle away from going all the way.
Yeah, he's one person. If he makes the kicker miss on that, then I don't think there's anybody catching him. But we did get a holding against the Blackcats on that play, and it'll be marked off from the spot of the foul. And instead of starting it around midfield, the Cats will start their drive from about the 30-yard line. You know, seeing Holman and some of those other guys get those balls on those kickoffs and those punts, all you can do is hold your breath because you know at any time they can make a big play happen.
They're close. I mean, you can't get much closer from what I've seen the last 2 weeks with Miller and Holman. And now we're back in the game. We got Banks in the backfield with Jones, and we got twins to the right and twins to the left with Sunday in motion. Snap back to Banks.
Hand off to
Jones.
And he's
breaking up the middle. He's still pushing.
And he's out to about the 41.
Gain of about 11 for Jones.
You know, it looked like he got stacked up and stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Then all of a sudden you see him out around the 40-yard line still churning his feet.
He's definitely a hard runner. As we had a lineman come up limping, he's going to run off on his own power.
We have a substitution coming in.
You know, our offensive line looks really small up against Jacob Kyle.
Right. I mean, he makes a lot of people look small.
So Mejia comes to the line, just running clock right here. We got 1 minute and 50 seconds left in the ball game.
Yeah, I think we'll see probably
two
or three more handoffs. And
another thing that hurts a second team like this is in practice the
ball's on the ground.
And Branks is going to recover it. But in practice they're used to up tempo, and you get in this game and you're slowing them down, and they're antsy. They want to get to going, and it's tough on them because they're used to upbeat, up tempo, and then now it's stop, slow down.
Yeah, and when you're not getting as many reps as some of those, those first-string guys, it kind of throws your timing off, kind of throws the cohesiveness off, and so you do see a few more of those mistakes and that miscommunication.
As we check some scores, it's final in La Vega now. They were defeated 49-35 tonight by the Argyle Eagles. As we start this play, B.J. Sunday comes in motion. He takes the pitch.
He gets the pitch.
And and he was taken. He got clothesline on that, Wallace.
Yeah, that tackle happened a little high out there, but obviously it was legal because there was no flag thrown. But that'll bring up second and about 12, and we're doing a good old hockey switch out there. We've traded several linemen, traded several players, and we're just going to drop back into our victory formation. But the Blackcats won't even have to snap the ball as the clock will expire before the play clock.
Well, we've had two things happen tonight that you don't have happen very much. Mart was defeated tonight, and La Vega was defeated tonight.
You know, it's early in the season, and a lot of people, the fans get a rise out of the rankings, but coaches are smart enough to know that these games this early don't mean near as much as those games in November and December. So I'm sure those coaching staffs will go back and correct a few things and be ready to rock and roll next week.
Well, as the game comes to an end, Wallace, we enjoyed it. It's 49-22 Blackcat victory at Blackcat Field on their opening game at Blackcat Field for 2019. That was an awesome way to start the season for the Cats.
Yeah, the Cats were impressive tonight against the Teague team that really got out here and played hard. Injuries kind of got them throughout the night, but they were just outmatched by the Cats. The Cats seemed to have the better athletes, had the faster guys on the field, and they played really, really hard tonight. It was very impressive showing from the Cats in their home opener. Oh yeah, it's not. That's as the teams are shaking hands at midfield. We do see Rogerion Hicks coming out on crutches and in a boot.
That's a huge loss for the Cats.
So we'll
go to a break, and we'll be back with some final scores and to finish out the opening night of Blackcat Stadium 2019.
to Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance.
As we come back to Black Cat Field, celebrating another Black Cat win here, start the season off at home. We're going to run over some scores and we'll be out of here. Right now we have Avalon leading Iredale 73-32. We have Rockdale leading Caldwell 37-22. Grandview's leading Hillsboro 38-17. McGregor's leading Bosqueville 56-14. Crockett and Garrison are tied in the fourth quarter, 26-all. Hearns leading Groesbeck 31-7. Whitney's leading Marlin 48-0 in the fourth. Refugio's leading Goliad 35-6. And some of our finals that's come across here are kind of surprising, but like you said, it's the second week of the season. Long season ahead of all our teams around here. But we have Granger beat Frost 56-21. Down the road in Wortham, Texas, the Bulldogs get a win tonight in an 11-man football game. The score was 70-66.
It's a shootout. Man.
Good job, Wortham, on the win. Hubbard down the road won 20-0. Riesel beat Meridian 40-0. Dawson beat Bartlett 53-6. Of course, we've already talked about the upset of Holland over Mart, 20-3, and the upset of Argyle over La Vega tonight. We got West getting defeated by Eastland Mavericks tonight, 49-7. Abilene Hornets beat Rusk, 28-16. Robinson was victorious tonight, 55-3. Fairfield won 14-6 over Brownsboro. Madison with a big win tonight, 55-12 over Woodville. Lorena downed Franklin, 42-21. And, of course, here at Black Cat Field, it was the Mejia Blackcats 49 and the Teague Lions 22. Now, Wallace, do you have some stats there for us? Or?
Yeah, we're getting the stats over here together for the Cats tonight. Give us just a second, and we'll be able to tally some of these up.
What we got here? We have Wiley, 5 for 71. Banks, 5 for 21. Holman, 7 for 48. We had 5 penalties tonight on the Black Cats. And we had an interception for a turn by Cooper. That was really a big play that got it turned to start out the first half.
Yeah.
Anytime your defense or special teams can score, it's always a plus on your side. But once again, from Black Cat Field, Greer Time Entertainment, the game was called by Wallace High and Jeremy Sunday. Thank you all for listening. I'm going to name our sponsors one more time. We have Napa Auto Parts. Thank you. We have Mookie Barbecue in Coolidge. Thank you, sir, for sponsoring. We have Greer Time Entertainment sponsoring. We have Greer Time Mobile Detail. We have Joe Fridays and Woodman Life. Thank you all for sponsoring to allow this to happen. Once again, Wallace, thank you for being with us and enjoyed it tonight and look forward to next Friday.
Right on.